They say that Ms. Hicks went into the THP's record system and stole information to make it public. She was charged, arrested, and fired. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Tuesday, breezy and chilly weather out there for your afternoon with lots of clouds, high staying into the lower 40s tonight. A passing flurry or two possible north of Chattanooga, lows near 30. For Wednesday, more sunshine returns, still chilly, highs lower 40s, lows Wednesday morning into the mid-20s. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's, it's always good. And I'm Swargene 12, Chief Meteorologist Patrick Report.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Come see the Chattanooga Zoo transformed into a magical winter wonderland. Visit the animals and watch them open their gifts. Have your picture taken with Santa Claus, play holiday games and make crafts, or just enjoy the beauty of the zoo covered in lights at their annual Holiday Lights event every Friday and Saturday night in December, right up until December 22nd. It's the most wonderful time of year at the Chattanooga Zoo. For ticket pricing and information, go to chatzoo.com.
Nuga Radio 92.7's First Responder Friday. If you would like to nominate a first responder for First Responder Friday, email nugaradio@gmail.com. nugaradio@gmail.com. Nuga Radio 92.7's First Responder Friday.
Celebrate the holidays at the Chattanooga Symphony and Opera's annual family tradition, Home for the Holidays, December 15th and 16th at the Tivoli Theater. Enjoy a concert filled with lively and classic holiday tunes from the most wonderful time of the year, as the CSO is joined by the CSO Chorus, Metropolitan Bells, and guest vocalist Dee Danasco. Pictures with Santa will be part of the festivities. Tickets are available by calling 423-267-8583 or online at chattanoogasymphony.org.
The station you hear everywhere. Nuga Radio 92.7.
Child of God. Today, I to stand in solidarity with the Unity Group of Chattanooga as we speak truth to power regarding Harriet Tubman. Many don't understand that places like Harriet Tubman, aka Boone Heisinger, weren't bad because of the people who lived there, but because of the policies that was done to them systematically and institutionally. Harriet Tubman and other public housing that are mainly Black and low income weren't born. They were intentionally created by the government, landowners, and policymakers who wanted to systematically keep people of color out of white neighborhoods. And so, like so many anti-Black policies that exist within the United States, the creation of Black neighborhoods actually began in enslavement. And even with the pseudo abolition of slavery, Black people were not given the full benefits of citizenship or personhood, even in northern cities. So the legacy of enslavement continued through Jim and Jane Crow and other laws that were seeped into anti-Blackness. And it's sad that even the children know that when they see trees planted in our neighborhoods, they know that those trees are not planted for us. For it is a painful reminder and realization that every new building, every historic renovation, every boutique, and every gluten-free cupcake is a wake-up call to remind us that every remake and upgrade and transformation ribbon-cutting ceremony is a signal for our displacement. where renewal is about places and not people, and color and poverty is resented. Therefore, the displacement of African descent residents in Chattanooga is part of the redevelopment as a matter of policy, where our lending institutions deny credit for African people in general, as well as in areas that are being prepared for whites in particular. Many Chattanooga residents are evicted so that white owners can remodel, rent, or sell, or substantially increase prices, which is a silent covenant to keep Black residents from returning. Or taxes are so high that the people that once lived in the neighborhood cannot afford them and therefore must leave. Let's be clear, and don't get me wrong. Black people believe in development, and reasonable person and no reasonable person will be opposed to the improvement or progress that better our community. The crucial issue for people of African descent is not about development. It is development that is displacing Black people. Therefore, the order and challenge of the day is, can Chattanooga achieve development without displacement? We must know that as a civil right, any person in the United States has the freedom to live wherever they choose. No one can deny that people of African descent have waged a relentless and tireless struggle to achieve the precious right for everyone. We also know that people have the right to live amongst their own nationality and ethnicity if they choose. Therefore, voluntary migration is one thing, but forced displacement is another. Time and time again, Black people have faced schemes, targeted policies, redlining, and outright domestic terrorism to force removal from neighborhoods and communities that we have lived, worked, and invested in. Therefore, gentrification is a code word for the new Negro Removal Act of the 21st century. It is a form of asset stripping where businesses, history, heritage, and people are removed from predominantly Black neighborhoods and quickly replaced with new buildings and new names that have no connection between the community, and therefore the people are not only displaced but erased out of sight and out of mind. And so the question is, can development strategies be devised that prioritize improving the lives of the current residents and preserving the culture and character of their communities? And the answer is yes. The collective bargain or brain power, the skills, the experiences, and the will that exists within our communities, as well as those of goodwill, is that we must defend these Black communities. Therefore, we must gather our brightest and our best, the conscious and the committed, to devise plans and policies to rescue and preserve Black communities. Now is the time to act. We must muster the collective resolve to become anti-gentrification advocates and courageously defend and protect communities from the destructive forces of gentrification, from devastating Black communities, from displacing Black people and causing further trauma and severe grief. For we all know that when you pull people from their communities, they experience the same trauma as what happens when you uproot a plant. It dies. Ferguson should remind all of us and serve as a wake-up call to all America that where denial and indifference about exclusionary and institutionalized racist and oppressive policies exist, the people erupt. And as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reminded us, a riot is the language of the unheard. And therefore, our presence today signifies it is time to start listening to the unheard. As I close with our spirit of our sister Angela Davis, who once stated, "I no longer accept the things I cannot change. I change the things I can no longer accept." Ashe and Asante Sana.
This is Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show, live at City Hall. I'm here with community members from East Chattanooga and throughout the city of Chattanooga who are here making demands of not only our city council, but our mayor on the expectations of a community benefits agreement with the Harriet Tubman site in East Chattanooga. I do have a expert here with many of the things that go on with the city of Chattanooga, Mr. Eric Atkins. Can you please give the community, the listener, an understanding of the demands that the Unity Group is making for the Harriet Tubman site and East Chattanooga's benefit?
Well, we like to think of them more as recommendations than demands, but there are some essential elements that we can put into it. First of all, we shouldn't be all in favor of business, because the people have a voice and the people have a vested interest of living in this community. So if you're going to be building, first of all, we want it to be mixed use. We think that would be the most productive way to zone that property. And second of all, after we've done that, what do we want there? So we should have livable wages. When they come in, we should hire local, because a lot of times when these businesses come in, they don't hire people that live there. And so we think you should hire local. You should work with the labor and trade and vocational community to get job training and to provide services such as daycare. It's very important. So we have to worry about the transportation element. And so we ought to be looking at this thing from a holistic view and not just an insular view, especially from the side of the big firms and corporations that don't necessarily have our interests at heart. Hire local, interests of the people at heart.
Thank you so much for your comments, and I look forward to the Unity Group actually having a situation where our voices will be heard, because we continue to have a situation where we make demands or we have expectations of what we want for our community, and often we find that our voices are not heard. So I really
put it on paper. We know it's there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Can I talk to you?
Sure.
Okay. I have Mr. Austin here, who works with our labor and trade unions, has collaborated with the Unity Group as well as the city of Chattanooga on trying to ensure that from a labor perspective, a housing perspective, but just a community perspective, that we ensure that the Harriet Tubman site, as well as other areas in the city of Chattanooga, will do what is in the best interest of the community. This man has organized so much of Nashville, and we count it a fortunate situation that he has made his way with his family to the city of Chattanooga to come and get involved, and did that from the very start. So Austin, what are some of the things that that the Unity Group is expecting and really wants for the listener who's just now tuning in? What are we looking to gain with the situation with Harriet Tubman housing?
So I think, again, from a labor community perspective, I think one of the things that a community benefits agreement could offer is there's a lot of one of the things with labor is trying to get local hire provisions. So making sure that if there's construction going on, if there's development going on, that we're actually figuring out who are the people in our own communities that need work, that need training, that need apprenticeship programs, that can use the work on development that's happening in our own city. Instead of contracting it in from outside of the state, outside of the region, contractors, how do we make sure that our folks are actually getting the work and the training they need? And a lot of that's very hard to regulate through policy, because at our state legislature in Nashville, they actually passed a local hire bill at the city council that said for new development projects, X percentage of the work had to come from our local communities, and the state legislature slapped it down. And so a CBA, a direct contract with a developer, is a potential way to negotiate a contract with a developer to make sure that they're providing the training and the resources and hiring from within our communities. I think from a community perspective, like everyone else has already said in the conference, that my understanding is the Unity Group really hopes for the community, the residents, the folks in East Chattanooga to actually have a real say in what goes onto this 44 acres of public land. We know with land values skyrocketing, with development booming in Chattanooga, that public land is such a rare opportunity to have this much public land that really is owned by the public. Public should have a say in it. It's very rare to have this much public land available for development. And so I think folks are just wanting to make sure that when it does get developed, that it actually maintains long-term sustained benefit for low-income and working-class East Chattanooga. And I think that's what the Unity Group's pushing for, and be excited to see what happens.
Thank you so much for your comments, and I definitely appreciate the hard work that you have been doing in the city of Chattanooga, and I look forward to hopefully us seeing a situation where we can have some CBA, Community Benefits Agreements, acknowledgement from not only the mayor's office, but also our city council members who are here. So thank you so much, Austin. Appreciate you. So if you're just now tuning in, everyone, I want you to understand. So I'm live today from City Hall, and I'm here with the community from East Chattanooga. We have a rare opportunity. We have 44 acres of public land that is sitting empty in the city of Chattanooga. And the city council and the mayor's office have changed the zoning structure of that public empty space that is not going to be the best. There are such as the Martin Luther King Jr. week-long celebration and parade. Behind that, they are also influential and action for the things that we do. Participation, community benefit, for our development. So I think particularly it is important when we talk about preserving Chattanooga, when we talk about preserving not only the beauty of Chattanooga, but we have to preserve the history of Chattanooga as well as the community interest. We should never have a situation in the city of Chattanooga where the people are left out of having voice, having influence on what goes on in their neighborhood. And so the Unity Group came together today in the cold at City Hall, on the front of City Hall. Unfortunately, I do not see the mayor here, which is a little disheartening, but not surprising. I do not see the mayor here. He did not take the time to come down from his principal warm office to meet the people here and address them or offer any support, love, or about the issue that we are raising today. But we did have Councilman Oversee, we did have Councilman Bird, and we did have Councilman Coonrock. So we did have some representation, only 3 members from the city council. Only 3 minutes, 3 members from the city council that actually took the time to show up and actually stand here and look. But the overall thing that I want to ensure you, the listener, is up on is that this is one of the very few spaces that we have in the city of Chattanooga with such intent, intense density. 44 acres is a tremendous amount of land. And so what we want with the community, Marine Show was born and raised and cultivated in East Chattanooga. That is my stomping ground, that is my home. That is where my grandmother's house is. That's where my aunt's house is. That's where my parents' house is. I have skin in the game and direct interest in seeing a community situation in that community. And one of the things that I want to ensure that we did not see happen with the recreation center of Avondale when it was gone up, there was nobody in the community that was hired to build that center. So how do we have people that enjoy a brand new center and see a brand new center being built in their own community, but their hands do not get to build it? That is a problem. And not only is that a problem that we cannot have pride that we built something brand spanking new that our children or grandchildren will get to enjoy in the city of Chattanooga, but that was a perfect opportunity for people who are impoverished to have an opportunity to earn wages, to earn current wages in that area where the average person is making less than $25,000 a year and living below the. it was important for me to come out here, even in the cold, and brave the cold and do this show live, because I want to keep you informed of what is going on in the city of Chattanooga. And if I say in my opening statement that I'm taking it from the streets to City Hall, I made it literal today because I am on the steps of City Hall and I came from the streets. And I'm out here with my fingertips freezing off, but because I want to encourage each and every one to get involved in what's going on in your community. Make sure you make your voices heard. If you do not know what a community, I cover that on our show and give you a formal understanding of community benefits agreement and why anything that comes into the neighborhood, whether it is development, whether it is business, step up. If you're a neighborhood association member, or whether just a regular community member, if you're a church, whatever you are, whoever you are, listen and hear me clearly. This is our city. This is your city. And make sure that you don't get pushed out of your city. You are not somebody. And I want you to ensure the future city of Chattanooga, you the ability to be are heard every step of the way. But they will not be taken seriously. Demand that your voices will be heard, because this is our city. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I appreciate you. Again, it's Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show, broadcasting live from the streets on the steps of City Hall, freezing in the cold, and doing it for the benefit of this beloved community in the city of Chattanooga. Look forward to continuing to keep you updated on this developing story, as having information as it is made available in her. Right.
Don't forget to tune in. Marie Mott Show coming up here in the next segment. We'll have Chattanooga City Hall and talking about these developing issues with the development over in the Harriet Tubman subdivision area. And we'll have that for you coming up on News Radio. Steve Ford.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A Chattanooga woman was arrested after the cops say she fatally stabbed her husband. 49-year-old Tavonia Johnson taken into custody. The victim's name, George Daramus. Reports say that he was found unresponsive on Marywood Lane, bleeding from multiple stab wounds. Ms. Johnson charged with criminal homicide, but she says she was defending herself when he tried to strangle her. An arrest was made in the Whitwell High School arson case. Reports say 18-year-old Robert Dalton taken into custody after a several-day search. Sheriff Burnett said the suspect confessed to the crime. Damage is estimated to cost around $10,000. No word yet on the motive. A Tennessee Highway Patrol dispatcher, Jennifer Hicks, was indicted after a grand jury investigation. They say that Ms. Hicks went into the THP's record system and stole information to make it public. She was charged, arrested, and fired. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Martin Truex Jr. is off the pace and he is headed to the pit lane. Elliott Powers around the outside. Michael McDowell pops a right front tire. Here's Martin Truex to the bottom. Blaney blocks him off too. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott went 4 wide on the back straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Nooga Radio 92.7 FM, 95.3 HD4.
The voice of NASCAR.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Well, let's take a look at the naughty and nice list. Well, let's see here. There's Sonny, and there's Deb, and even Annie made the list too. Well, let's look at the naughty list. Well, there's Billy and Greg. If you think you're on the naughty list, stop by Rick Davis Gold & Diamonds and get 70% off select merchandise in the store. Rick Davis Gold & Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road, Chattanooga.
For your small business, ending the year the right way can set you up for success come January. No need to let end-of-year panic set in. Easy Books and Taxes can help set up your books or new payroll service so that you can relax and enjoy the holiday season. With 35 years, bookkeeping, individual, and business tax preparation, it's easy. With Easy Books and Taxes, you run the business, we keep the books. Call us today at 423-755-0821.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga roofing contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust. Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need AMCO Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. AMCO Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way. The Thompson Pet way. Yeah, I just put that anywhere.
I'm the dude. You know, that or his dudeness, duder, or El Duderino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Nuga Radio 92.7. Nuga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Today, breezy and chilly weather out there for your afternoon with lots of clouds, high staying into the lower 40s. Tonight, a passing flurry or two possible north of Chattanooga, lows near 30. For Wednesday, more sunshine returns, still chilly, highs lower 40s, lows Wednesday morning into the mid-20s. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world-famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Snorgene 12, Chief Meteorologist at Patch Report.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
All right, it should about so many times on my show at ATM Chat, her website that goes very detailed into pilots and TIFs and surplus buildings, and she has done amazing work. And I'm so glad that I have an opportunity to actually pick her brain a little bit here in the cold and get why she stood behind the initiative with the Unity Group and ensuring that we have a community benefits agreement with the city of Chattanooga for the Harriet Tubman site. So Ms. Sharp, if you don't mind, what is the reason that you linked with the Unity Group behind this issue, and why was it important for you to stand with the Unity Group on this issue with the Harriet Tubman site?
So let's go back to how I got involved with the Unity Group. I spoke to the group about 3 or 4 years ago about tax breaks, and they invited me to come back. And so I not only came back, I started going to their meetings, and I found it an enormously positive experience, and I have learned so much about issues and parts of town that I was not all that familiar with. So when this Tubman issue came up, I had been a little bit involved in this Area 3 planning process, and I was aware the city, and I think the planning staff has done a good job in working with neighborhood leaders on it. But all of a sudden in the middle of this, the city just announced we're going to rezone the property to M1 light industrial. And that seemed to just come out of the blue. And it came at a time when we just had the issue about the concrete bleachers at the Avondale Rec Center and the Avondale Census Tract got left out of the Opportunity Zone designation that might have enticed some developers to invest to save on capital gains taxes. So it just seemed like when we were talking about all this at the Unity Group that, you know, the theme for our MLK week is the time for action is now. So the group decided, you know, we're going to take a position on this. We're going to issue a policy statement. We want to be collaborative. We want to be positive. Our audience on this thing is the city council and the mayor, because this really is in their hands. And so basically what we were saying is, please now, I'm saying, withdraw the application that's scheduled to go to Planning Commission next Monday. And then, you know, continue to work with the neighborhood, explore some different zoning districts that would allow, manufacturing uses, that's fine, but also would allow a mixture of other uses, such as some retail, for example, and work with the community on what's called a community benefits agreement. And that is an amazing tool that I've been talking about the past couple of years. It hasn't exactly caught on yet. But that if we give a tax break, I think we ought to always have a community benefits agreement attached. And it's a contract between the developer and either the city or a neighborhood corporation that basically says, you know, makes the developer commit to certain things, like, you know, hiring and apprenticeship programs and skin color to kind of make them aware of some of the issues we didn't really talk about at the press conference. But in our position paper, we talk about some of the poverty statistics, some of the housing statistics, some of the unemployment statistics. And these are things that so many people in Chattanooga that live downtown or on the south side or Hickson or the North Shore, East Brainerd aren't even aware of. They probably don't know where the Tubman side is. So I saw this as a way, too, of making, you know, we're really one community. And, you know, I would like to see, you know, the entire community sort of stand with Avondale and East Chattanooga on this.
So that includes people who are just not even from East Chattanooga, but that this is a situation where the impact reverberates throughout the city of Chattanooga. And it should always be a situation that, which is your belief, that we stand together on these issues and make sure that, again, it's nothing wrong with pilots or TIFs. It's nothing wrong with people coming into our community, but it should not be a situation where the residents hear about things after decisions have already been made, but they're constantly kept in the loop of the process, and that we're at the table being able to give our voices on the things that we see happening in our community.
Yes, we want to be able to give our voices, and we need to believe that our voices are being listened to. Now, we elect our elected officials, and I think they're all good people. We elect them to ultimately make the decisions, but we really want to believe that they are truly listening to us, not just asking what we think, but they're listening and taking into consideration what we think.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sharp. It is a pleasure to actually have you talking on my radio show, because I have talked about a lot of the work that you have done from your perspective and your history of planning. And you also told me that you have a personal connection to this neighborhood. And so I think everyone has to understand is that even if you do not live in East Chattanooga, you're still connected, because we are one city. We are one city, and we should make sure that that there's not just love that's going to the historic South Side, or love that's going to, or development, or interest, or financial positivity that's going into pocketed areas. And then one of the things that you stated in the paper that you guys put out is that we have areas and pockets of concentrated poverty in this city, and that is an issue that we really have to be diligent and earnest at looking at. So I'm so appreciative that you took the time and stood here in the cold on the steps of City Hall with me to inform our listener of the position of the Unity Group. And I look forward to working with you guys during Martin Luther King Week, where we are going to push for more positivity and community involvement here in the city of Chattanooga. Thank you so much, Ms. Kelly.
Thank you, Marie.
Yes, ma'am. So to you, the listener, I'm still out here on City Hall. And why am I here? If you're just now tuning in, I'm here because the Unity Group decided that they were going to take action. And this is the time. This is the time. We must take action about our city. We must take action about our neighborhoods, our streets. We have to take action. We cannot stand idly by. If you look at Dr. Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail, he said that we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality and tied in a single garment of destiny. What does that mean? What he meant by that is that we are all connected, and what happens in one area directly impacts those people there, but it indirectly impacts people everywhere in the city of Chattanooga. And so if we have a situation, if we allow people to silence us, or we allow ourselves to believe that we are not heard, or that we cannot speak out, or we cannot ask for the things that we need in our community, what does that do? That sets a precedence, and it reverberates throughout the city, where we believe into the ideology that we are powerless and that there is nothing we can do about the things that we see happening. It's time for us to understand there are great things happening in the city of Chattanooga, but those great things are not evenly spread throughout the city of Chattanooga. There's not those great things spread throughout the city of Chattanooga. Take a drive on the west side and look at the poverty, where people are so poor and the neighborhood is so blighted, there's not even a grocery store or pharmacy. And I hand out food there twice a month on Tuesdays. And if you've never handed out food on the west side, you wouldn't see what I see. And what does Marie Mott see when she hands out food with Concerned Citizens for Justice on the south or on the west side on Tuesdays? I see grandmothers, I see elders who have to catch the bus or who get off the bus with bags of groceries. You wouldn't know that if you don't come and see what is happening. Take a drive through the blighted areas of the south side and see in between. You see fancy grocery stores, and then you go 3 or 4 streets or blocks over, and you see poverty. You see dirtiness. You see trash. You see no hope. You see violence. You see young people with no jobs, nothing to do. Is that the city of Chattanooga that we intended to build? And is that the city of Chattanooga that we will allow to remain? I believe the time is now. I believe the time is right now that we take back our city block by block, street by street. But it cannot just be talk. You've got to get outside of your home. And I choose to quote Ella Baker. We've got to go back and we've got to talk to people who are not talking to us. We've got to talk to the people who think that they're making it good and get them to understand the daily struggle for people that they may not know. You may be a listener in Hickson. You may be a listener in East Brainerd. You may be a listener on North Shore. You may be a listener from downtown. Understand, I have nothing against you. I love you. You're my neighbor. And that is what we preach. We preach on 92.7 FM. Love your neighbor. Shop local. But we cannot preach this or believe this if it's only going to be concentrated in certain areas. Now, I went to a city council meeting 2 weeks ago. I saw the community of, I believe, the North Shore asking for a special consideration for zoning because they did not want manufacturing in their neighborhood. And you know what the city council did? They made sure that they made a special request for the zoning for that community. I want to see that same type of treatment to the East Chattanooga community. Even though we may not be the most beautiful community, even though some of our areas are quite blighted and it's concentrated poverty, I want to see that same situation. But when we make those demands for Harriet Tubman, that we do that in the best interest of the community, and that the city does not do things without the people being involved. And if it requires a special zoning practice, if you gave it to North Shore, why can't we have that in East Chattanooga? We have to be fair. We have to be fair and make righteous decisions that are not partial. Government should never be partial. What you do for the one, you should do for the other. And you should never speak to the interest of the developer. You speak to the interest of the people. The developer does not pay taxes. Quite often, the developer gets pilots and tips, which prevents them from paying taxes. And so if we give them a tax break, we have the firm belief and right to have a community benefit situation where at the least, if we're giving them a break, they got to participate. They got to spread that love back to the community and employ the people right there. They got to make sure that they're not dumping and it harming the environment if they come in there. They got to respect the land. Chattanooga is the most beautiful city in America. What would it look like if we had people destroying our scenic city just to build things? It's buildings popping up everywhere. If we destroy the riverfront, what do we have? If we destroy these beautiful hills that exist and have trees that are older than all of us and older than probably every listener I have, what do we have? We have to respect the environment. We have to respect people. And we have to ensure that we fight. Don't allow yourself to be cut out of your neighborhood. You are not powerless. You are not without hope. You are not without hope. I firmly believe that if we fight for our city, if we fight to preserve our neighborhoods, if we fight to preserve, this city is historic. Just about every corner of the city of Chattanooga has a history. It has a story to tell. These are the streets where we have legends that have walked, musical legends have walked these streets. We have had some of the most influential people in the South that have walked these streets. And what will we do if we allow our communities and developers to come in without community interest agreements? Not only will we see the erasure of environment, not only do we see the silencing of community, but what we see is the erasing of history. History is all we have, folks. And we have to respect where we come from to firmly understand where we are going. And there is no future without an embracing and a respect of the past that we have. This city is such a beautiful city, and I'm glad to be from and born in this city. And as God is my witness, it is my prayer that I will be laid to rest in this city. But I want to be laid to rest in this city in peace. I want to be laid to rest in this city with the assurance that when I leave this city, I left it better than I found it. I left an opportunity for every young person, no matter where they come from, no matter their skin color, that they have an opportunity to be great in this city. And that if our mayor deemed that this is a city of creators, that he ensures through the city council that they are responsible for making sure that everybody can create in the city. And so what that takes is a collaboration of us all. It is not about religion, color, creed, sexual preference. What it is about is that we are all human beings, that we are mankind. And if we do not come together like never before, if we stop participating in divisive measures of politics and race and understand that we are one people with one vision in one city, there's not separate neighborhoods. There are separate historical contents, but we are one city of Chattanoogans. And we should not come together just in tragedy, if somebody shoots somebody, if somebody goes and harms somebody, but we should come together every single day to make sure that we respect the city. I was so disheartened, but I was not surprised that I did not see my mayor here. The mayor it should never be a situation where the community comes together right here on the steps of City Hall. And the mayor does not come out of the comfort of his warm office and meet and greet and talk to the people here. To me, that is not proper representation. Proper representation means that even if I don't agree or don't like what people say, I got to hear the demands of my community. I have to address the demands of my community. How is it that we have 9 council members and only 3 made it here? Everybody has to be involved. And we duly elect people to serve the interest of the people. And if we look at the Declaration of Independence, what it states is that we the people give our power to those in which we represent. But when it becomes a situation where they make decisions without our knowing, good people, that is tyranny. It should never be a situation where they decide that they are going to change the zoning structure of an area and not inform the neighborhood first, or not ask if that is what the neighborhood wants. That should never happen. That is not proper representation. And I know people from the mayor's office listen to my show all the time. I know they listen. I know they hear what I'm saying. And I know they're looking at the window right now, because my voice is probably one of the loudest, earnest, honest voices in the city of Chattanooga that they've ever heard on the radio. And I'm doing that as a millennial. But Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without demands. It never has, and it never will. And so we have to make our demands, because at the end of the day, the decisions that they make will reverberate into generations to come. And so if we are to look forward to the future for those who are coming after us and giving them an opportunity to live in this city, I asked the mayor to step up to what he said, and ensuring that if this is going to be a city of creators, that you got to listen to the people. This is not your city where you determine what you want in this city. You ask the people what they want in this city. That is proper representation. And so our constitutional provision has always spoken against tyranny, has always put the power in the hands of the people for an intentional purpose. Because once the power is removed out of the people's hands, this is what we have. People making decisions that impact us negatively. And so the founding fathers were intentional in their constitutional provision. They were intentional at the starting of this country of ensuring that the power belongs to the people. The power belongs to the people. The power belongs to you. And do not give up your power. Do not believe you have none. The collective has power. You may not have anything but just your vote as an individual, but the collective have power. And that's why we must come together like never before, because the collective has power. We the people hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I firmly believe, as a young millennial just wanting to see my situation change and the situations of others change, and wanting to see this city be so much better, and wanting to see people who are responsible do so much better, I'm fighting this good fight. I'm standing out here braving the freezing cold to make sure that not only are you informed, but you are participating in the change that is to come. My name is Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. And of course, if no one has taken the time today to tell you that they love you, I love you. And it's nothing you can do about it. I love you. Thank you.
Don't forget Chattanooga Morning News, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM, and also the Nooga Radio Power Hour News coming up in just a few moments here on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.